Really? Hi guys, I'm Sharonda Isadora and welcome to Brazen Babe Reviews. And today we are going to be doing a book recap on two books in D.A. Young's Baymoor series. I was about to say another author's name because I just read an Instagram post and I was oh Lord, thank God I caught myself. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so again, this is going to be a book recap. Again, this is going to be on the second and third book in D.A. Young's Baymoor series. The second book is Lost and Found, and the third book is Take a Chance on Me. And we're going to talk about Lost and Found first. And this is your cover. And of course, I shall show it somewhere in here so you can see the covers throughout this recap. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible and as brief as possible since I'm going to be talking about two books. I rated both these books on Goodreads with 5 stars, 5 stars each. And I did give like a little, I guess you could say like a little recap of how I felt about after reading the books. It's not like really full like description or anything like that, but you know, it's just a little bit something because I did say on both of the reviews that I put up on Goodreads that, you know, the blog was going to come shortly. So I add the links to both of the Goodreads postings when I'm done. All right, so we're going to talk about the second book, which I said was Lost and Found. This is, okay, so just to give you a general description, the author has wrote this series. It's set in this little fictional town that the author came up with of Baymoor. I think it's Maryland. Yeah, Maryland. But, so the first 3 books in the series resolve around these siblings, which are, I call them the Carlton siblings. The first book dealt with the baby sister. Her name was Georgina, Georgie for short. I read that book like a while back. I'll link the review from the blog down below so that you can see it. So these 2 books are talking about the other 2 siblings. Lost and Found is Eliza's book. She's the older sister. And Take a Chance on Me is the brother's book, Graham. Graham is book Bay, y'all. That's all. When I talk about it, y'all know what I'm talking about. But Graham is the middle child, but he's their brother. Okay, so that's that. And his is the third book in the series. The 3 books that I've read so far, these take care of the Carlton siblings, but at the end of Take a Chance on Me, the author, I'm sorry, I'm like scratching my feet. But the author did say she was going to incorporate more stories in the Baymoor world. So I'm really looking forward to that because we came across some really interesting characters in this series. And also in this series, the author takes on a series of things: domestic abuse, drug abuse, sexual abuse. Yeah, I mean, you know, dysfunction in family. She takes on a myriad of a whole lot of things throughout this series. But she does it very tastefully, and because the thing is with these siblings, they grew up with in a very dysfunctional and broken type of a home. Their mom was a drug addict, and that turned to prostitution to get and keep her fixed. So these three siblings grew up, you know, pretty rough. You know what I mean? But as fate would have it, some good people were able to come into their lives and, you know, turn things around for them. And you know, and now they are these, you know, they're fully functional adults who are doing good for themselves. You know, they're living good, prosperous, loving lives, and you know, being from what they came from. That's pretty awesome, because I think like in a lot of stories we're kind of like expected to see that, you know, especially with characters of color, if they grew up in this kind of like dysfunctional atmosphere. You know, it seems like, you know, they have to be stuck in that, you know what I mean? And that's not the case with the Carlton siblings. You know, they turned out to be some decent adults, and you know, hats off to the author for that, you know, for turning them around. So yeah, so let's get to Lost and Found, shall we? So like I said, Lost and Found is the older sister's book, Eliza. Whereas Graham and Georgina, they took on a lot of abuse from their mom. Eliza pretty much took the brunt of it. She was the oldest, so she saw a lot more than these two. And because her mother was in the precarious situation, you know, because she was a drug addict and stuff like that, you know, that allowed for, you know, predatory type men to come into her life and her household. And of course, when you have a daughter, you know, even someone who was Georgie age at that side, you know, at that time, but you know, Eliza, she was this teenager, she was a beautiful girl, you know what I mean? So, you know, when you have these predatory type men coming in, you know, because her mother was the way she was, you know, it kind of led to this kind of like combative type of relationship between Eliza and her mom. Eliza does not have any good memories of her mother, and now as an adult she really doesn't want to fuck with her mother, like, at all. She wants nothing to do with her mother. Graham pretty much feels the same way. But I think like at the end of his book, he kind of like, he's softening up a little bit towards her. But we'll talk about that when we get to his book. But and Georgina, because Georgina was, you know, so little, and she wanted so much from her mom at the time, I think Georgina would be a whole lot more forgiving towards their mom than Graham and Eliza are. But I think she's kind of like, I don't think she will allow herself to be pulled like in the middle, but you know, she knows that her brother and sister really doesn't want to you know, pretty much be bothered with the mom. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. And if the author so chooses to add a book in a series on their mom's name is Ingrid. And at the end, at the end of, you know, in some parts, and at the end of Eliza's book and into Graham's book, we see their mom. She's in rehab and she's getting better, and she's trying to be a part of these kids' lives, well, adults' lives now. You know, they all, you know, pretty much are married and have their own families and stuff. She wants to be part of that, but you know, given the way that these kids grew up, they pretty much have kind of like written her off. So we'll see where it goes. You know, I'm all for forgiveness. You know what I mean? I like to see families that have gone through something and are able to get past, you know, that terribleness, you know, and move on to something you know, big and beautiful, and I hope they're able to do that. You know, I hope they're able to incorporate their mom into that, because at, you know, at the end of Graham's book, these siblings have that, you know, and it would be nice to see their mom be a part of it. But I could totally understand them being apprehensive of allowing her back into their lives, given that their childhoods, even when they were adults, you know, because in Georgina's book, the mom pretty much, you know, she was still on drugs and she was pretty much using Georgina. So, you know, even when they were like adults, you know, she was still trying to, you know, take advantage of them. So I can totally understand why, you know, even as adults, they don't want to have anything to do with her. But it would be nice to see, you know, how they, you know, how they're able to, especially as she refuses. I mean, she don't move back to Baymoor. She wants to, you know, she's there. So it's like now they're in their face. You know, she's in their face. So it would be interesting to see Ingrid get a book in this series and see how her redemption kind of like goes, and if her children are able to, you know, accept her back into their lives, you know, the way parents and children should be. So now that I have done talked all y'all ears off, we're talking about Lost and Found. So again, this is Eliza's book. She's the oldest sister. And to keep this short, since I went off on this whole kind of a tangent thing at the beginning, I'll just go by the notes that I have. So basically with Lost and Found, you have a kind of like, what do you call those type of stories where people that were together, haven't seen each other in a long time, and they get back together? What do you, oh God. What the, oh, geez. Well, of course it's part of the romance genre, but what the heck do you, oh geez, second time around romances or something like that? So pretty much that's what, I know that's not it, but you know, that's kind of like what I have right now. So that's pretty much what Lost and Found is. Not Graham, but Eliza and Wade. Wade is the male protagonist in this story. You know, they have met before and they kind of like broke off, and now they're back together when it comes out the beginning of this book. So anyway, what happens is, like I said, Eliza is the oldest, and I told you about these kids growing up in this dysfunctional type of a thing. So Eliza, as a young adult, she decides to, you know, go get a job to support her brother and her sister. And she kind of like tries to get this job at the strip club, and she kind of like fucks up the interview because she can't dance, you know, at the strip club or whatever. But the owner of the strip club takes an interest in her. I think who turned out to be her husband, David. He, you know, he took an interest in her. He saw something in Eliza, and also because with David and Eliza being married, it was pretty much a marriage of convenience. You know, it was kind of like, you do your thing, you know, I do my thing. Pretty much David married Eliza for show to hide something that was going on with him. Okay, so you know, we had that aspect of the story. So when Wade and Eliza met, Eliza lived in New York. She didn't live with her husband because, again, like I said, it was a marriage of convenience. So, you know, he lived in, I think, Staten Island, Long Island, something like that, and she lived in New York City. You know, she was young, and her and Wade met. Wade was a NYPD detective at the time, and they kind of like have this kind of like hot whirlwind type of relationship, you know, and they fall in love. But the thing is that unbeknownst to Wade, Eliza is David's husband, and at the time, like I said, Wade and his partner at the time, that he was a detective in New York, were looking into, were investigating Eliza's husband. So when all of that comes out, you know, like I said, there's this big blow up because there's this misunderstanding, because of course Wade didn't know that Eliza was married to David, and you know, with them, you know, being a couple, you know, he had introduced her to a lot of people. So when it came out that, you know, when they were investigating her husband David, it was kind of like, you know, Wade is like, you know, you use me. And when Eliza finds out that Wade is you know, a detective, and they're looking into her husband, you know, she's kind of like, you know, you use me. So they both thought that, you know, the other used one, you know, one another for, you know, for games and stuff like that. But it was a whole lot of confusing. And with Eliza's husband, you know, he did a lot of things behind Eliza back that she didn't know. He was a good guy, but you know, it was never really like mentioned in the book, like if her husband was part of the mob or anything like that. I kind of got the feeling he did, you know, from like his family or whatever, but it was never really mentioned throughout, you know, throughout Eliza's book. So we don't really know, but you kind of like got that feel of it or whatever. So, you know, they have this big argument and they have this big breakup. Wade at the time loses his partner. You know, his partner is killed in the line of duty. And Wade feeling like, you know, Eliza's gone, his partner's gone. It's like, fuck it. Because he grew up in Baymoor. And, you know, he decides to go back to Baymoor. And eventually he becomes the sheriff of that town. Eliza, when we go inside of the book, Eliza is pretty much burying her husband at this point. She's burying David. David has passed on and stuff like that. Took a lot of secrets with him when he left, and I'll tell you that secret in a minute. That is the only cookie I'm going to give you throughout this review, because it ties into Eliza and Wade's story. So when we go inside of this book, Eliza now has a daughter. Her daughter is like 8 years old. So remember, her daughter is 8 years old, and it's been 8 years since her and Wade have seen each other. Eliza has buried her husband, and you know, she's thinking about moving to Baymoor because that's where her family is. Graham is there, Georgina is there. Georgina is now married to Old McDonald. His name is not Old McDonald, his name is Max, but they call him Old McDonald in the book because he's a farmer. He's a black farmer, but I'm gonna call him Old McDonald anyway. And she's married to Old McDonald. Well, when we go into Eliza's book, her and Old McDonald are about to get married. So, you know, her whole family is there. And, of course, her aunt and her uncle is there as well. So she wants to give her daughter Camille, you know, a regular, she wants to give her a functional, you know, growing up. You know, she wants her to be in a happy, healthy environment. She doesn't want her in any type of dysfunction or anything like that, you know, because of the way she grew up. You know, her and her brothers and sisters grew up. So she makes the decision to move back to Baymoor. So remember, I told you Wade went back to Baymoor after Eliza, you know, him and Eliza had that big breakup and he lost his partner. So boom. Now Wade doesn't know that Eliza is coming to Baymoor, but he also doesn't know that his best friend Max, who's marrying Eliza's sister, he doesn't know that Eliza and Georgina, and he knows Georgina because Georgina is marrying his best friend. He doesn't know that Eliza and Georgina are related. So Wade is kind of like in this, when we go inside of the story, Wade is kind of like in this kind of like, he's still grieving the loss of his partner. He's pretty much boinking his way through the women in Baymoor, the single women in Baymoor. And, you know, he likes his job. He loves Baymoor and stuff like that. But, you know, he's kind of like unsettled. So with Wade, he was always upfront and honest with these women. Even though these women wanted more, he wasn't willing to give more. And then, you know, he always thought about Eliza in the back of his head. He was, you know, they were in love with each other. He was still in love with her. So he was never really the one to fully commit to anyone. So when they finally meet up again, there's another big blow up because, again, like I told you, they haven't seen each other in 8 years, and there's this kind of like, you know, and all these old feelings start to come up. you know, there's like this love-hate, you know, they love deep down, those feelings, you know, that they have for each other never really went away, because they always thought there's this big wall of betrayal between them, I'm sorry, you know, there's this kind of like, you know, thing between them. So when they meet up, it's kind of like, you know, what the fuck are you doing here? So it comes out, you know, that Eliza is related to Georgina, and old McDonald kind of figures out, because Wade has told old McDonald about Eliza. He never told him her name, but you know, when old McDonald sees Wade's reaction to Eliza, he's kind of like, oh, that's the chick that kind of like fucked you up and made you come back to Baymoor and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So old McDonald, being that he's happy and he's about to get married, he figured, you know, I'm about to matchmake you. I don't even know why old McDonald thought he could do that, but he did. It was so cute. But because he always had these, you know, set up these situations where he put Wade and Eliza together. I don't know why them two fools didn't catch on to what Max was doing. It was just kind of like, okay, Max, whatever. But it was cute. The story was cute. So basically, with Lost and Found, and then we, before I get to that thought, but then we find out that, remember I told you that Eliza has an 8-year-old daughter, but it comes out throughout the story, she always thought that Camille's was David's daughter. Now remember I told you David and Eliza had a marriage of convenience. So that means, you know, they never slept together or anything like that. But she thought she was artificially inseminated, but what she thought was his semen or whatever to get pregnant and have Camille. But that wasn't the case. She was actually, when her and Wade had that big breakup, this is the only little tidbit I'm going to give you, you know, she ended up being pregnant. I don't know why she never thought that maybe Camille's could have been Wade's, but I don't know. I guess she wasn't thinking at the time or whatever. But David knew, and you know, they had kind of like, you know, this whole kind of like thing going on or whatever. But I think Eliza was going through something, and you know, she just wasn't feeling right with. And then, like I said, because David did a lot of sneaky things behind her back, you know, it kind of like comes out what he did throughout the story, and then we find out that Wade is actually Camille's father. It's kind of like funny the way he found out, because it was actually like they were like out, you know, and whatever, and he heard Camille laugh, and he just went off the rails, because from that laugh he just knew this little girl was his. And I was just like really weird, like from a laugh, like even like I was thinking that, but as I was reading the story, Eliza kind of was like saying that too, like really, like from a laugh, you really think this little girl is yours or whatever, but you know, whole DNA test and stuff, and it comes out that Camille is actually Wade's or whatever. So yeah, I guess you can tell by her laugh too, so yeah. But pretty much I like the story, I enjoyed the story. I have to say that out of the 3 books in the series so far, like I really loved Eliza and Wade's story. They were kind of like this fiery type of a couple, and because they had like this big wall of misunderstanding between them when they first got back, you know, came back into each other's lives, they were always butting heads, but there was this, you know, really tense attraction going on between them. So it was kind of like, you know, they would have these big ass fights or whatever, like arguing. These you know, these two was locking lips, you know what I mean? So it was really like, you know, it was something. It was so cute to see, you know what I mean? Like, usually I'm not the one for like balance between couples, like even if it's for like play balance or whatever, but I almost at times wanted these two to come to blows because of the attraction that was still there. And they obviously knew they were attracted to each other, but like I said, because they felt like, you know, the other one did the other dirty, you know, they weren't willing to like you know, at certain times throughout the story get past that, and it kind of led to these kind of like funny moments. So I like the dynamics of their relationship. It was really, really cute. Bella, get from over there. You probably ruining my life. Move, fool. She makes me sick. So I really enjoyed Eliza and Wade's story. And Wade was really, really kind of like cute in the way he kind of like dealt with Eliza, because like I said, because of the way Eliza grew up, you know, it was very hard for her to trust people. I mean, pretty much with all of them, like Georgina and Graham and Eliza, they were all like that. But with Eliza, because she went through so much more with the mother and stuff like that, for her, she was really very leery of letting people into her life. So when she first met Wade, those, you know, long 8 years ago, and you know, for her to, you know, let her trust walls down and let him into her life like that, you know, the way she did, and then for him to come back, you know, after what she thought was this really major type of betrayal, it was just, it was really nice to see that Wade kind of like, Wade was angry with her too, because the way they broke up, like they really didn't know, you know, what happened to each other after that time. You know, she didn't know that Wade lost his partner and he was, you know, dealing with the loss of his partner and stuff like that. So it was really kind of like cute to see them kind of like get past their differences and decide to work together, especially as parents, once they realized that Camille was Wade's daughter, you know, and try to work things out. And then, you know, there wasn't too much, why am I confusing my words? There wasn't too much fighting between them, even once they realized that, hey, I still love you. It took Eliza a little bit longer to tell Wade that she loved him or whatever. But, you know, she didn't like, oh my God, like, you know, you know how you go into some romances and, you know, one person or the other in the relationship, or, you know, other couple realize that they love each other, but they're kind of like, you know, you get like this whole rigmarole and back and forth throughout the book with these two trying to figure out if they love each other or not. You didn't get that with Wade and Eliza. They had a little bit of a, you know, tug of war with each other, but eventually they kind of like let up on each other and they realized that they wanted to be with each other and they decided to make it work. And I like that. I thought that was just really, really a cute way to go, you know. And I love stories like that. Like, I don't mind a little friction in romances or anything like that. I just don't want to read a story and pretty much 50 to 75% of the dang on book is this couple fighting the fuck out of each other on their feelings. Like, let's get to it. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed Wade and Eliza's story. I thought it was so cute, and their daughter was so cute. She's like this 8-year-old with this 100-year-old woman trapped in her body. She was just so cute and so just like the rational one between these two. Because I'll tell you, you could have lit a match and these two would have burnt each other up. It was so cute. But I really, really enjoyed the book. It was just great. And I did I did a whole lot of highlights. You can check out my review on Goodreads and click, you know, they now, because of Amazon and Goodreads are now connected, you can actually see, you know, what people highlight in a book. And you can see my highlights on Goodreads. There were some pretty funny moments within this book, and I really, really loved it, especially when Wade and Eliza decided to get together. I'm gonna read that section because that shit was funny as hell, because I was just like, wait. So Eliza and Wade finally realized, you know, we gonna make this work. This work. This try. But I told you, Wade was pretty much of a, you know, he got around the town before Eliza, you know, came through or whatever. And he was dating this woman in town or whatever. So this woman, they're in one of the stores in town, and this woman decides to confront Eliza. So here we go. It's Eliza, right? The small blonde woman looked her up and down And Eliza had the distinct feeling that this stranger found her to be lacking. That's correct, and you are. Eliza did her own staring and could grudgingly admit she was an attractive woman if you like petite, blonde, and curvy, which Eliza didn't, especially when it looked like her man's previous type. I'm Jackie, she smiled, but it didn't reach her hostile blue eyes. I used to date Wade before he got saddled with a kid. Now I had to fuck you up. Fuck you. You can say what you want to say about me, bitch, but what you ain't gonna do is bring my kid in it. Back to the reading. He broke up with me because of this moral obligation to the both of you. Which the fuck he didn't. She knew what Wade was about because, like I told you in the beginning, he was always upfront and honest. She was just being a bitch. But anyway. Or maybe he's just tired of settling. Eliza accounted with a bright smile. She waved her aunt who was listening from across. She waved at her aunt who was listening. Who was watching. Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with me? Let's start that over. Or maybe he's just tired of settling. Eliza countered with a bright smile. She waved at her aunt who was watching from across the room. Listen, Jackie, I understand that you're probably upset about losing Wade. But don't take it out on me. I appreciate it if we could come to some sort of understanding. We're both adults and should act like it, you know? Jackie wanted to hate Eliza, but even she could see how Wade had fallen for the elegant and posed beauty. You're right. That was petty of me, and I'm sorry. Forgive me for trying to stir up shit. Oh, punk ass. Oh, pooh. There's nothing to forgive, girl, Eliza said dismissively with a wave of her hand as she leaned in closer. I love your necklace. What kind of stones are those? I was like, oh shit, it's squirmish. Oh, thank you. That's my mother's. Eliza smiled pleasantly as she cupped Jackie's neck and yanked the necklace back so that it was cutting into her skin. Please listen to me. I wanted to say hope, but that's not what the author put inside the book. Don't mind me. That's what it was. I would say. I would let now listen to me, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, back to the reading. Get back to it. Please listen to me. Good as I deplore violence and would hate to resort to it, but I will if I must. If you ever in your life talk about my daughter in that way again, I will kill your whole ass. No, that's not what she said. I will kill you. Do you understand? Blink once if you do. Jackie blinked and the tears that had gathered fell on her cheeks. Oh, punk ass. Talking all that shit and can't even fight. Y'all gonna get enough walking up on bitches. Eliza good, because I ain't talking. I'm punching in your face any old way. Eliza released her hold and patted her shoulder. I'm glad we understand each other. It was nice meeting you, Jackie. I was on the train. I think I read that part on the train. I was on the train dying. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, it was some very cute, some very funny, some very tense moments throughout the read. And it made it really, really cute. So, yeah. So I love this one, of course. And now we're going to talk about book better. So that is Eliza and Wade. They decided to get it together for the sake of, you know, because they love each other and for their daughter. So now we're on to, because I want to get to Graham so bad. Now we're going to talk about Take a Chance on Me. And here is your cover. Now this is there was a previous cover to this one. According to the author, all the covers, I guess in all her series, because she has, I believe, 4 different series, and I think that the covers are all, you know, throughout these series, these book series that she has, these covers are being updated. But on my Kindle, I have all 3 books. Take a Chance on Me was the only one that was updated. I probably have to do something and go in there, because sometimes it's like, sometimes with the Kindle, I see, like, especially on the Kindle app, like on your phones and stuff like that, like most of the time I think like once you, like, it doesn't automatically update. I think like once you like open the book, you probably have to go in and do something and kind of like you know, get the newest cover of the book. I don't know, but I wish it would automatically update like this one did. But you know, I digress. You know, it is what it is, I guess. So, as I told you guys, Graham is the brother and he's the middle, even though he thinks he's very confused and think he's the big brother, but he's not. But Graham, oh my God. I don't remember reading a lot of Graham and Georgie's book. I don't know, probably did, I just don't remember. But since it's been a while since I read Georgina's book, you know, I don't know. But you get a lot of Graham in Eliza and Wade's book. So like I said, Graham is the middle, is the brother. He's the middle child. He is now this big old sexy ass, bald-headed, chocolate ass man with a beard and everything else. So he, you know, Graham is just like, yeah, I am team Graham Carlton, because girl, whew. Have you ever read Cheryl? Is it Cheryl Lynn or Cheryl Lee? Is it Cheryl Lynn? You know, what is her last name? She writes a lot of Bella. She writes a lot of paranormal romances. Is it Kenyon? Cheryl Lee Kenyon. She has a character in her series. It's called there's a character, oh God, I read that book. Graham is like up there with that character. I think Graham done took his spot. What the hell is that damn character's name? I can't, oh God, I'm so old. Not old, I mean, I'm gonna have Alzheimer's when I get older, because I can't remember shit for nothing. Oh God, what was his name? Anyway, Graham done took his spot. Graham is like #1 book bag for me right about now, because all I want to know is D.A. Young, where did you think this man up at? It's just like, wow, amazing. Let's talk about it. So Graham is an ex-Marine. Currently he is these siblings have decided to go into a business they own it in next to Old McDonald's farm. And Graham, he is he likes to cook, so he's a chef, but he's also he also does little things on the side where he takes care of bad people, does bad things to bad people, and I can't be mad at the man for that. So kind of like, I want to say like special ops or something like that, but he works on his own. So you know, you call him, you ask him to take care of something for you, and Graham's gonna take care of it. So that's where we are with Graham. Graham is a very let's just put it like this. I like Graham's character because I feel like with men, especially black men, especially like if they grew up the way that Graham grew up, in this dysfunction, seeing his mother be this with this addiction and then turn to prostitution, it can lead men to have feel a certain way about women. And Graham, as an adult, he was very opposite of that. He didn't hate women. He didn't think negatively of women, especially black women. He says it in the book, he loves black women. Now, he'll fuck around with anybody, but he loves him some black girl magic. Love that. But, you know, what I was saying, you know, he didn't think negatively of women. He was very caring. He was very loving towards women. And that had a lot to do with him being, you know, growing up and then, you know, taking care of his sisters, protecting his sisters from these like I said, from these predatory type men that their mother would bring in the house. So Graham is very rare indeed. And I know we probably got men out there like that, black men included, you know, that, you know, grew up seeing their mothers in a very, not in a very good light. But, you know, when they grow up, they, you know, they do things differently. You know, they don't repeat the cycle. And I love that about Graham's character, because I think with men, especially black men, or men of color, it's very, I think it's kind of like stressed upon them, you know, if you see, you know, especially if you see that coming from your mother, it's just like, you know, you're not going to have very much respect for women. You're not going to hold them in any type of high regard. And I like that Graham as this adult male, he was this very loving person, especially to the women in his lives, his sisters, his aunt, you know, other women around him, you know what I mean? But because he saw the relationship that his mother and his father had. His father was no longer around. Their father died when they were young. It left him kind of like leaving a bad taste in his mouth about a relationship. So Graham got around, but he was very, again, respectful of women. He always told them up front, like, you know, he's not the one for relationships. He'll get in there, he'll slide through your panties, he'll make you wet, he'll do some very nasty and naughty things to you, but he ain't the one to stick around and, you know, be that type of man that you need for him to be. But when we go inside, when we go out of Eliza's book, when we're throughout and at the end of Eliza's book, Graham is looking for this woman. She grew up in Baymoor, but she had to, her name is Annabelle. Let me stop saying this woman, Annabelle. But she had to run away. She was in an abusive marriage to this other dude that grew up in Baymoor. Her friends and her family actually asked Graham to find her. And when we go inside Graham's, you know, throughout Eliza's book, Graham is still looking for her, but he sees her pictures and he's just in love with her. And I love Annabelle's character, and I love the description of Annabelle's character, because she's this very dark-skinned woman, just you know, beautiful. And Graham is, you know, just from Graham is looking at her pictures and stuff like that, he's already pretty much in love with her. So when we go inside of his book, he has found her. She's in Australia because, again, you know, she's on the run and she's hiding from this abusive man that Graham is also trying to find and put his hands on and kill him. So let's just make that clear. So Graham's thing is, when he finds Annabelle in Australia, his thing is to bring her back to Baymoor to flesh her husband or her ex-husband out, so that you know, he can do what he got to do with him. But Annabelle isn't for that type of life. I mean, she is, but Annabelle now has another person to think about. She was also on the run from her husband, not just to get away from him to protect herself, but she got pregnant, and she now has a 3-year-old daughter that she has to protect as well. So she's not willing to put her daughter in danger. But in Graham and Annabelle's book, Graham is pretty much, we get the pretty much, you know, some of the book while they're in Australia, they have like this rough meetup or whatever, and they get to know each other while they're staying, you know, while he's staying in Australia, and, you know, just trying to find out things about her and her past life when she was in Baymoor and stuff like that. And they have like this really cute, sweet relationship. Now, where Eliza and Wade was like this fiery type of relationship, even though Graham and Eliza had like their tense moments, I really thought their relationship was really, really sweet and so very cute because of the type of person that Graham was. I think Annabelle was quick to, you know, to go at it before Graham was. Graham was very patient and very understanding. He was just this really sweet, loving dude, and that led to him having a very sweet and loving relationship with Annabelle, and I love that about their relationship. And like I said, even though they butted heads or whatever, Graham was always willing to be like, you know what, let's sit down and talk about that. You know, let's sit down and talk about this. You know, he was now, he wasn't no old punk, you know, he wasn't a Rolo or whatever, you know, he had his very stern way, I guess, of talking or whatever. But you know, Annabelle being a woman she was like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? it was like that with them or whatever. So I love their relationship. It was really, really cute. But then, you know, like I said, she had this husband that she had to get rid of before, you know, Annabelle, she was on the run. She was hiding from this man because he was a fucked up dude. And she didn't want to go back. She wanted to go back to Baymoor because she missed her friends and her family. She has family in Baymoor. She grew up in Baymoor. But, you know, she didn't want to put herself or her daughter in any more danger. But the story was cute. You know, it turns out to be a very tense but happy ending for Graham and Annabelle. And I like the story because I feel like with both Eliza and Graham's story that Miss Young just kind of like got to it. You know, she didn't do a whole lot. Like I said, like we didn't get a whole lot of rigmarole in Eliza's book. We didn't get a whole lot of rigmarole in Graham's book. You know, pretty much before Graham got back to the States to go look for her ex-husband, you know, him and Annabelle pretty much, you know, have decided that, you know, they love each other and they want to be with each other and they want to make that work. But, you know, Graham had to, you know, they had to take care of this damn problem first, you know what I'm saying? I did write on Goodreads that I did have an issue with Annabelle falling in love with Graham so quick, especially like they both came from like abusive situations, but Annabelle's was kind of like new, it was kind of like fresh, you know what I mean? But I like that the author included like a healing process in it. Like Graham actually recommended that, you know, once they got back to the States, you know, once he took care of her husband and they got back to the States and stuff like that, that Annabelle seek counseling. Like Annabelle knew that she had to deal, you know, get counseling and deal with, you know, whatever, deal with, you know, the abuse and, you know, how she dealt with the abuse, you know, from her ex-husband and stuff like that. But I like that the author put it in there where Graham suggested it, because I feel like men are made to be removed from those type of emotions, you know, in real life and in fictional. You know, it's kind of like, okay, you're with somebody that dealt with that, but it's kind of like, you know, let her find, you know, let her find a way to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I think men kind of like emotionally remove themselves from things like that. So I like that the author put that in the book. Because I feel like in these romances we get these characters, rather they male or female, you know, that grew up in these abusive situations or come from abusive situations, but we don't get any type of healing process. You know, we don't get their healing in these stories. You know, it's very rare that we get characters that seek counseling or actually get a counselor inside of, you know, these characters talking to a counselor inside of the story. And I just think that that should be put in there. And I understand that, you know, it's a romance and the main focus of the story is romance, but if you're going to be dealing with these characters that come from that come from physical abuse or sexual abuse or come from this dysfunctional type childhood, you know, sex ain't a way for them to, you know, sex ain't a way for them to get over that. You know what I mean? They actually have to talk to somebody. So big ups to D.A. Young for throwing that in. I mean, you know, Annabelle's friend was, one of Annabelle's friends that she grew up with that we got to know inside of the story was an actual counselor. And, you know, she actually suggested to Annabelle, like, you know, this is what I do now, you know, you come talk to me. You know, although that we didn't get Annabelle actually talking to someone inside of the story. I just like that we had an actual counselor in the story, that we had her potential mate in the story suggest that to her. So I like that, because Graham went through that. Graham had his own anger issues, and she was still dealing with it, you know what I mean? You never get over that. It's a constant thing. You have tools and mechanisms that you have to do, that your psychiatrist or counselor gives you, you know, that you have to go through every time you feel like an unnecessary anger or how to deal with something. So, you know, Graham, being that he grew up in that dysfunction, and he's done counseling and talked to a psychiatrist and stuff, I like that he was now pushing his potential mate through, like, I know what you've been through, I've been through that, so this is something that I want to see you do, you know what I mean? So I like that. So I love the story. It was so cute. And again, Annabelle has a 3-year-old daughter. Now, I am not the one, I'm not a fan, I'm generally not a fan of children in books, especially romances, because it's kind of like, if you have like these hot and heavy sex scenes, especially in these damn books by the girl, especially Granton, ooh, child, I was just like, yes. I should not be reading this at work. I probably should wait till I get home and read some of these scenes. But I think that even in Eliza's book, that the children that were in the book were just, you know, these very, you know, extra additions to them being in the story. So hats off to Delia Young for that as well. So another great read. Like I said, on Goodreads, I rated both these books 5 stars, and they are just awesome. And if you, oh, and the other thing is, Graham's book is African American romance. Eliza's book is international, interracial, and I ain't even been drinking that much. Eliza's book is interracial romance. And I think the other books, the other series that Ms. Young has written are all interracial. I think there are 2 books in her Baymoor series that are African American romance. Georgie's book is African American romance as well. So, but I like even through Graham's book, you get this very diverse kind of like world in this in her series. And I just love in this little town of Baymoor that, you know, because, you know, most of the time it's like, especially in like small towns and stuff, you know what I'm saying, it's like either 90% white, 90% black, or 90% this is that other. I just love the diversity throughout this Baymoor world of Miss Young's. I mean, black, white, Latino, Latina, you know, Russian, you know, it's just a very diverse world, and I love that. We got some old characters from previous series. I guess Graham is floating around through these other series in Miss Young's world, so I'm definitely gonna have to pick up some more books by Miss Young. But I just wanted to come on here and just let you guys know that if you haven't, you should be reading any and every book by D.A. Young. They are well worth it. Pick them up. And that's it for me. Until the next one, guys. Later days, and thank you so much. Bye.